Heaven knows the Greeks were confused enough when it came to deciding who and what lay west of the known world. Things were bad enough with Elysium, the Fortunate Isles, and the Garden of the Hesperides to contend with, but then someone cooked up another land called Atlantis, which caused etymological as well as geographical problems. Tales of Atlantis may have begun circulating in Greece in about the 6th century BC, but they amounted to little until Plato concocted a detailed picture in his 4th century works Timaeus and Critias. Plato's Atlantis was a great island once situated in the Atlantic just beyond the Pillars of Hercules. Larger than Libya and Asia put together, Atlantis was arranged in 3 rings of land, separated by 2 rings of water and bounded by the ocean. This curious arrangement was engineered by the god Poseidon, who appointed as king his eldest son Atlas, born along with 9 brothers to the mortal Clito, whose own parents had been the island's original inhabitants. Plato says Atlantis was named after this Atlas, who himself must have been named after the one who held the sky on his shoulders. Not only was this island supposed to be near Mount Atlas, but a towering mountain also stood at its center. In any case, Atlas and his successors ruled wisely in a place of great beauty and wealth, turning it into a utopia of reason and law. The Atlanteans were also well-trained warriors, and in time they managed to invade and subdue the western mainlands of Europe and Africa. But as immortal elements thinned in the Atlanteans' blood, they grew more covetous and less reasonable. As a result, they waged an unwise campaign to subdue Greece itself, only to be decisively beaten by a much smaller army of Athenians. Plato claims that this great battle took place in the 94th century BC. Eventually driven off the European and African mainlands as well, the Atlanteans returned home to suffer further degeneration. After a time, the gods could no longer bear their behavior, so Poseidon caused the ocean to swallow up the island in a single day. This part of the story may be based on an actual cataclysm, perhaps the submerging of an island in the Mediterranean after a traumatic volcanic eruption. Archaeologists once suggested the island of Thera, a Minoan settlement about 70 miles from Crete, temporarily engulfed by the sea around 1500 BC. The rest is sheer fantasy, which Plato himself hardly took seriously. He was more interested in reforming Athens than in raising Atlantis.